Districts of Maharashtra on high alert as of today. Chief Minister says next 48 hours are critical. And monsoon havoc spreads from north to south. Flood hit Poonch, cloudbursts in Himachal. Landslides shutter 389 roads. Bidar reels under heavy rain as well. Days after Supreme Court's harsh order on stray dogs in Delhi NCR, 2 minor boys injured in separate attacks in Udaipur and Alwar, Rajasthan. In Udaipur, a 5-year-old dragged and bitten by 3 stray dogs while playing, sparking panic among locals. Tensions rise in Amanagullu as Marwari Go Back slogans echo across the town. Local traders accuse Marwari traders of selling cheap goods, hurting native shops as well as jobs. BJP backs Marwari community. And political storm hits Asian Cup 2025. Opposition slams India-Pakistan match, criticizes BCCI over blood money. CET qualified candidates protest for nearly 50,000 primary education vacancies, clashing with the police, leading to multiple detentions near Kolkata's Karunamoi. India bloc nominates former Supreme Court Judge B. Sundareshan Reddy as vice presidential candidate. The opposition alliance picks Reddy ahead of the upcoming VP polls. Gaming companies in focus as Cabinet clears the bill to regulate online gaming. Union Cabinet approves legislation imposing penalties on online betting, signalling tighter oversight on real money and betting linked platforms. Good evening. Our top story at this hour. India and China have agreed to hold the 25th, Special Representatives meeting on the boundary question in China next year. This comes after the 24th round of talks held in New Delhi today between NSA Ajit Doval and Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Following the meeting, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has called the discussion on border issue as well as bilateral relations fruitful. Both sides reaffirmed their commitment to fully leverage the Special Representatives mechanism and to work toward fair, reasonable and mutually acceptable solutions in line with 2005 guiding principles. They also agreed to strengthen border management and control to maintain peace and tranquility along the frontier, while also exchanging views on major international as well as regional issues of common concern. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi noted the importance of consensus reached during the Xi-Modi meeting in Kazan, which set the direction for improving bilateral relations between the two countries as well as handling of the border issue. He added that since the beginning of this year, relations have entered a steady development track, with the border situation now stabilizing and improving. My colleague Kartikeya Sharma joining us with more insights. Kartikeya, a clear signal there by the Chinese Foreign Minister that situation is improving with China.
Absolutely. Let me just take you through a couple of parts of the statement which have come out verbatim. It reads, the two sides agreed to hold the 25th Special Representative meeting on the China-India boundary question in China next year. The two sides also exchanged views on major international and regional issues of common concern. And it says that the meeting mechanism is there to explore fair and reasonable and mutually agreeable solution in accordance with the political guiding principles agreed upon in 2005. This was when Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. That's one. Now the second important thing is, it goes on to say that the important consensus reached during President Xi Jinping's meeting with PM in Kazan has charted the course and provided impetus for back to top improving China-India relations and properly handling the border issue. Since beginning of this year, bilateral relations have entered a steady development track and the border situations remain stable and improving. As two major neighbor and developing countries, China and India share common values and extensive common interests. Now, before that, China also stated that the global south can be led by both China and India. And this comes in the wake of China providing all help to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. So the question is, why is it happening? It is happening for simple reason. One, because of the unpredictability of the American foreign policy. Second, that India also understands and China also understand that the two neighbors cannot be at loggerheads with each other for long. There have been some concessions that have been made for India, for example in rare earth, the tunneling material, fertilizers which we require. So in a way it will be mutually beneficial, because India also imports a lot of things from China and it helps the Chinese export because it's a manufacturing country. Third, politically it's important to keep our borders quiet, because when we talk about hot borders, we are talking about an intense deployment of forces from Sir Creek till Siachen, from Siachen to Vijayanagar in the eastern sector, and then the entire Myanmar sector has become volatile because the junta there is not in control of parts of Myanmar. There is a civil war, silent civil war which is taking place in Myanmar, and plus we have a very unstable Bangladesh. So keeping that in mind, I think the reset that is happening with China will hold us good both in the realm of business and in the realm of security.
All right, so before we go to business, let's talk about security. I know you mentioned how American foreign policy, which has become extremely volatile in the past couple of months since Donald Trump came back to power in January this year, has also resulted in political sands shifting in South Asia, for that matter.
Absolutely. See, Americans have straight away targeted the Indian government. I know there's an expectation of the electorate from the government because of Howdy Modi event that took place in Texas, and then the event that took place in Motera in 2019 elections in India. So there are heightened expectations, but the fact is the American administration has positioned itself against multilateralism. People important to Donald Trump's scheme of things day after day have been speaking directly in context of India, that if India wants a strategic relationship, India needs to behave strategically, or needs to be a strategic partner, or needs to behave in a way which suits the strategic interest of the United States of America. Now, if you look at through the naked eyes of diplomacy and security, what is happening? America is cutting deal with two global powers, which is Russia and China, at India's expense. Their trade with Russia has gone up, their trade with China has gone up, and Americans are pushing India. So what India is doing is pure play strategic autonomy at display. We are having our own deal with China, we are having our own deal with Russia, despite the fact that we have a running feud with China. Galwan has happened, and in Operation Sindoor, one of our senior military officers said we were not fighting one country, maybe we were fighting 2 to 3 countries. But then this is called the necessity of global politics. This is called how necessity is more important than even what you think is important in terms of value, because by end of it, what comes first is the interest of the nation.
Absolutely. And Wang Yi also referred to the Kazan consensus, and I think it's important to highlight to our viewers right now, what was the understanding back during when she and Modi met in Kazan, because that was also a pivotal moment.
I think Kazan consensus was about two things. The Kazan consensus was about to actually negotiate, talk through the guiding principles of 2005. Those had been set aside after Galwan. The second thing which I feel is more important was we were not having proper conversation, or China was not having proper conversation with people who matter in Delhi or people who mattered in Beijing. And I think the third and foremost is that there's a perception issue with China when it comes to India, and there's a perception issue in China about India. There's a hostility. Because the impressions are also guided by the Western discourse. For example, I'll give you an example. Despite so many wars, despite active pursuit of terrorism, almost all prime ministers have given benefit of doubt to Pakistan. Even Prime Minister Modi went to Pakistan.
Right.
But there is no exchange of benefit of doubt when it comes to China. And China is a far more powerful country than Pakistan. So I think there is also, I would say, there need to be a reset in imagining relationship. But it takes two to tango, I would say that. But I think that reset of imagination is required. We don't need to see each other from the prism of Western politics. And what I mean by Western politics is Anglo-Saxon politics of UK, Germany, Canada, United States of America and Australia.
All right, and I think that prism is also being widened for that matter, since both countries are actively engaging. Before I let you go, this is also setting the stage for Prime Minister Modi's visit to China for the SCO meeting.
Absolutely. Though I would say that Wang Yi is going to be in Pakistan and there's a hyphenation which a lot of people must be feeling. But then, it is also in India's interest to keep our neighborhood peace. If our neighborhood is in turmoil, then India can never achieve its economic targets. Ultimately, what makes us so different, Shweta, from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Maldives, Sri Lanka? It's our economic strength. It's our human resource strength. What we really require is manufacturing strength, which gets also reflected in the defense sector. I think that is what everyone understands. That is why this whole slogan of Atmanirbharta has been there. But I think it will take some time. But for now, India has cut its losses with America and reset relationship. We have done reset with Mali. The Prime Minister was there. There is some sort of a reset happening with China. I think it's very good.
Absolutely, very good. And as far as trade is concerned, China also has a $100 billion trade surplus with India. So it is in India's interest to look for alternative partners on the back of Trump tariffs. Even if the additional tariffs don't kick in, the 25% tariffs on Indian imports stay. And I think China will prove to be perhaps a reliable partner there. Thank you very much, Kartikeya, for setting the stage for that big story, which will unravel in days to come. India-China relations getting an upbeat there on the back of the FM Wang Yi's visit to India. But moving on now, just as his high-stakes visit to India wraps up, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi is now set to land in Pakistan, a move that's also raising eyebrows across the region. Wang Yi will begin a two-day visit to Islamabad on 21st of August to attend the Pakistan-China strategic dialogue and meeting with both civilian as well as military leadership. The agenda? A sweeping review of bilateral ties, regional flashpoints and evolving global dynamics. The timing is crucial. This visit follows the recent India-Pakistan conflict in May and the Iran-Israel war in June and a visible thaw in Pakistan-US relations. Sources say that discussions will also include finalization of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's upcoming visit to China, where he is expected to attend the SCO summit and hold key bilateral conversations. With regional power balances now shifting, Wang Yi's Pakistan visit could be a signal of deeper strategic recalibration in South Asia. Now, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is in Moscow on a crucial three-day visit. The visit is aimed at strengthening the time-tested India-Russia partnership. His visit comes even as India faces fresh strain with the United States after President Donald Trump doubled tariffs on Indian goods. Jaishankar will co-chair the 26th session of the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic as well as scientific and technological and cultural cooperation, along with Russia's first Deputy Prime Minister, Denis Mantrov. The meeting is expected to set the stage for President Vladimir Putin's visit to India later this year. The External Affairs Minister will also hold talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, reviewing the bilateral agenda and deliberating on India-Russia energy cooperation. Discussions are also expected to happen on Ukraine conflict. India has, in fact, repeatedly in the past called for dialogue and diplomacy to end the war in Ukraine. The visit comes at a sensitive time. Earlier this month, President Trump slabbed an additional 25% tariff on Indian goods, a penalty for New Delhi's continued purchase of Russian crude oil. Now, India has defended its oil imports, saying that energy procurement is based on national interest and market dynamics. Russia, which supplied just 1.7% of India's imports of oil in 2019-20, now accounts for nearly 35% of Indian oil imports by 24-25, making it India's biggest oil supplier. Jaishankar's visit to Moscow is being seen as a balancing act, deepening ties with Russia while managing mounting pressure from Washington. And breaking developments on Ukraine war, US President Donald Trump says it is possible that Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, does not want to make a deal. In an interview with Fox News, Trump said he hopes Russian president will move towards ending the war, but admitted, and I quote, "You never know." Trump added that while he believes Putin is tired of the conflict, the coming weeks will reveal Russian leaders' true intent. He warned that if Putin does not move towards peace, it will be a rough situation. Trump also reiterated that there will be no American boots on the ground, but hinted that Europe may be willing to deploy troops. On NATO, Trump was blunt, saying Ukraine should never have asked to join the alliance, adding that some form of security arrangement is possible, but not NATO membership. And time now for a very short break. News and updates will continue.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Papa, let's go to